Hello and welcome back to It's Not Rocket Science, 5 questions over coffee. I have my coffee to my side. I know Jürgen's got a drink with him as well. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation with Jürgen. Jürgen, who is going to try and help us to understand how to make podcasting and marketing human, which, as a podcaster and a marketer, I kind of am really enjoying listening to the pearls of wisdom that I hope Jürgen is going to give to us. So Jürgen, welcome to It's Not Rocket Science, 5 questions over coffee.
Thanks, Stuart. It's a real privilege to be here, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Terrific. So, tell me, what is the ideal client that you're looking for in the work that you do?
My dream clients are business coaches and consultants that work in the technical or manufacturing or healthcare space. So they provide services to those industries, and they're usually looking for they're looking to grow their business, but they're struggling to get visibility in front of the right audience, in front of their dream clients. They're often struggling with putting together a longer term strategy to build their audience, build their visibility, and hence grow their business.
Okay, so give me an example of the sort of problems that those people have had and have tripped over before they sort of look for help in order to overcome some of those problems.
Well, often they have kind of haphazard systems.
Mm-hmm.
They try things sporadically, so they might post a newsletter, an email newsletter, but after a little while it kind of dies, or a lot of people unsubscribe, so they get discouraged and they stop doing it. Or they might post on social media, but they put on one post and hope that their dream audience will see that, not realizing that it's got to be done a lot more strategically than that, because the social media actually doesn't necessarily put that in front of the audience that they want to get in front of. Also, the follow-up systems after that. So if they post something on social media and somebody clicks through the link where they go, often they end up just landing on their website. So the person might be interested in what they've read on that social media post or in the newsletter. When they get to the website, they think, oh, okay, now what do I do? It's sort of expecting them to think for themselves rather than taking them on a journey, one of the many customer journeys that people can go on when they click through a link. And all of that strategy is missing.
Yeah, it's so often the case, isn't it, Jürgen, that too many times we sort of broadcast a message and think, that's it, job done, we're now going to get floods of clients. In actual fact, social media is great, but it allows you to build a relationship, and that relationship is what gets you the customer, not the initial message. It's the ability to build that relationship, find out more about that person, work to understand their problem, and then actually sort of work on a solution to their problem, rather than just, hey, here I am, I'm expecting you to land me with an order. I often, I don't know about you, but I often talk to my clients about the fact that so often that, if we were to imagine a person, sort of, the most attractive person you can think of, knocking on the door and then being there on bended knee with a ring in your hand saying, will you marry me? The chances are they go, no, I want to go on a date, at least one first. As business owners think that actually we're just going to propose marriage, and our customers are going to go, yeah, why not? I want to enter into a lifetime agreement with you. We've got to date them, haven't we? We've got to smooth them. We've got to show them a good time first. Maybe even buy them dinner. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. I think that metaphor comes from Mark Schaefer in his in what's his book called? But his philosophy is the most human company wins. But I like to say that all of those things are really starting a conversation.
Yeah.
It's as if you meet somebody on the street and you say, hello, Stuart, how are you? Where are you headed today? I see you taking your dog out for a walk. So those are the kind of things that people will have conversations about if they meet on the street. And then continuing those conversations will build some sort of relationship. So in that instance, it might be, hey, let's go have a coffee. We might become friends. Maybe I've got a dog as well. So we have conversations about things that we discover are in common. I think posting on social media or sending out newsletters or whatever the engagement, whatever the connection point is online, should be looked at as starting a conversation, or if there's already a conversation ongoing, taking that conversation to the next level. And I'm very strong on bringing people from social media, which is somebody else's platform, into your own ecosystem to continue that conversation.
Yeah, agreed. So has there been a particular book or concept that's helped to we need to come to question 3 first, which is that valuable free resource. And I must now bring up my banner, which shows that valuable free resource, which I know you've got some great stuff here on the innoviz.com.au website. So innoviz.
That's right.
Innoviz.com.au. Gosh, there are so many syllables in there.
A little bit hard to say. Yes, it's innovation and business. Just marry those two together.
Yeah, I should have thought of it like that.
What we have there in that URL that's scrolling across the bottom is our Flywheel program, which is the entire process for our podcasting production, setting up a new podcast, producing a podcast, and then leveraging that podcast and leveraging it in the way that it ultimately leads to business. And that's a little bit different than what typically people might think. Usually people think of podcasts, if they're not doing it themselves, if they're looking at it from the outside, they think of podcasts and they think we can get sponsorship or we can get advertising, but that's not really where the gains are. Or if you want to go down that route, it's very hard work and not a lot of reward for that hard work. So we have a whole set of processes, how to build the relationships with people up front, how to have an awesome experience with guests that we bring on the show, how to have an awesome relationship and present awesome content to our listeners, how to then take those relationships with the guests, with the listeners, and also when we go on other people's shows like this one, how we take and grow those conversations into ongoing relationships and how they can then build into, it might be directly business, it might be partnerships, it might be referrals, it might be a bunch of those different things. And all of that is part of that Flywheel program. It's essentially an audio book that covers every one of the 12 steps of our process.
Excellent stuff. So is there a particular book or concept that's really sort of helped to cement your business knowledge and has brought you to the point where you are today?
Well, that was a hard question for me to sort of think about. Although I'm always reading books and I'm always discovering new books and thinking, wow, that's great. And usually the book I'm reading right now is the one that is front of mind. But then I reflected back and I thought, well, what's something that has had a real impact? And I have to say, Mike Michalowicz's books, and particularly his book, Profit First, and his system about profit first, totally transformed the way I run the financials in my business. And before that, I was really overspending at times and losing track of paying myself and paying profit. And his philosophy totally transformed that. And now, we know exactly what's happening financially. I get paid first, the profit goes next. Well, the tax goes first, but then it's paying me and paying the profit. And then what's left is what we can spend on operating expenses. And so we know we've got to keep our operating expenses below that number. So that's really had a big impact on how we run the financials. His other books also, I mean, the one that I really love is The Pumpkin Plan. It kind of covers so many different aspects, from process, from marketing, from being unique, from being innovative. So that one I'll highlight as well. But all of his books are fantastic. So he's got a whole bunch of them that kind of all come together as a system, in fact. And his latest one is Fix This Next, which is kind of addresses kind of is almost like an umbrella over all the other books that he has, where he talks about Clockwork as the one where he talks about systems and processes. The Pumpkin Plan is more about marketing and being unique and fixing the core of the business. And then he's got Surge, which is a little bit more about customer interactions, customer relationships.
I've not come across those. I'm going to put those on the reading list immediately, Jürgen. I should get to those immediately after this. Well, maybe a little bit later on today, but I should get to those on the list. So,
yeah.
Final question, and it's now the time that I step back and I allow you to sort of do all the hard work. So there's got to be a question that you've been thinking to yourself, I wish he'd asked me about. So what is the question you wish I had asked you? And then tell us the answer to that question, Jürgen.
There's probably a couple that come to mind. I'll go with is it too late to start a podcast?
Yeah.
For people that haven't got a podcast yet, or, I think this applies to video channel as well, but I have some statistics around podcasting. A lot of people say, well, it's too late to start a podcast. There's people who have been podcasting I've been podcasting for 8 years and we've got over 500 episodes. There's people that have been podcasting a lot longer than I have and have got 1,000 or more episodes. So it's too late to get in, is kind of the conventional wisdom. And I say, well, no, it's not, because there's about 1 to 1.5 million active podcasts all across the internet. It sounds like a big number, but it's actually not a big number, because when you consider blog posts that people still jump on board today and still recognize the value of blog posts, there you're competing over 600 million blogs on the internet. You're competing with that number. So if you consider writing a blog post and starting up a blog, you're competing with 600 million others. If you start a podcast, you're competing with 1 to 1.5 million others active.
Do you know, they always say, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago, yep. The second best time today. So podcasts are a bit like trees, I guess. They produce some similar results. They're ones that grow and they build the audience. So people, if you haven't started a podcast 20 years ago, then today is the right day to start a podcast. And Jürgen, this has been a brilliant conversation. And, as a fellow podcaster, I really appreciate the fact that the two of the 1.5 million have managed to find a time to speak together, which is a great thing to do. And obviously, we look forward to getting onto the Flywheel program and seeing what you've got there. If you would like to find out more about what I'm up to and get an email from me ahead of the recording of these podcasts so that you can watch live and ask questions, we've had people watching today. I can see they've already liked the conversation, which is great news. So they're on Facebook liking this, so that's brilliant. But if you'd like to get that email and know exactly what we're doing when we're doing it, go to tca.fyi. That's tca.fyi/subscribe. That's tca.fyi/subscribe. That gets you onto the newsletter list, and we send you an email on a Monday basically saying who's coming on today and what's going on this week. So please do that. Jürgen, it's been absolutely fantastic having a few moments with you.
Thank you, Stuart. I really enjoyed our conversation.
We're just two of the 1.5 million. There are other people out there. As they would say in all those neutral channels, there are other podcasts available. Go check them out. So, Jürgen, thanks very much for being on. Really appreciate you spending a bit of time with us today.
Thanks, Stuart.